Christmas movie about a person that gets separated from his family in a place that ends up getting invaded by criminals. You know, the movie that starts with a family fight and a hilarious scene at a busy airport. Then, our emotionally vulnerable hero suddenly finds himself isolated from his family and tries to survive by doing all he can to get back with his loved ones, only to have his plans completely spoiled by a team of criminals. Do you remember the part he calls the cops for help, but they're way too busy munching on delicious treats, and they just think the call's a prank anyway? They do eventually send a patrol car to investigate, but the officer just reports back that nothing seems to be out of the ordinary. But there obviously is a big problem, and our main character quickly realizes that he is literally the only person who can actually stop the crooks. And throughout the movie, as he tries to work out a plan of his own, he continuously talks to himself.
This is my house. I have to defend it.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
He even makes an unlikely ally in a man that he first notices when looking out of a window. They begin as strangers, but over time, they end up making a connection, which is a very good thing because at the end of the movie, that new friend ends up saving the hero's life by taking matters into his own hands. Throughout the whole film, our hero hides in cramped spaces and eavesdrops on the evildoers to try and learn all he can about them. But before things get really bad, the main character crosses paths with a big bad boss who's pretending to be someone else. Can you believe that? One crazy thing about this movie is for some reason someone foolishly decides to go barefoot and eventually has a very uncomfortable encounter with some glass. Ouch! We see someone get shot in the head and someone gets shot in the groin, and the main character even takes a wild ride down a steep staircase. The bad guys get torched, slammed into walls, and dangerous objects are dropped down a shaft on them. And eventually the big baddie takes a pretty gnarly fall. And at one point our hero even makes a dangerous getaway by swinging and crashing through the side of a building. But in the end, he's reunited with his family after recognizing his faults and appreciating his loved ones a whole lot more. But if you ask me, probably one of the most memorable things about this movie is the main character's iconic catchphrase.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's a pretty great movie. Until the same thing happens in a sequel 2 years later, only this time on the East Coast. And once again, our lead is separated from his family at an airport, but this time there's a whole lot more running around, so at least he's getting a little more exercise this time. It's a pretty solid follow-up, but it's still not the end. It keeps getting sequel after sequel after sequel until eventually everyone loses interest and stops caring altogether.